Hi everyone, welcome back to One-on-One with Tierra Fair. This month is special because it's February, so we're doing a Black History Month edition. We've had a number of different guests, and today we have the pleasure of having Miss Hanifa Shabazz. She is the first Black female city council president, and that is super amazing. I have to ask you, hello first.
Hello,
how are you?
Thank
you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
I have to ask you, is it okay? Do we call you Madam President?
I love that, please.
I love that too. Do people call you Madam President
Yes.
at the grocery store and everything?
No. Well, some people do. I mean,
Okay.
they do it as a congratulatory greeting, and it does feel good.
It does, right?
It does.
I know we don't have a female actual president of the United States, but it's pretty good
I'm on my way. No.
Yeah, you are. We love it. We love it. So first, kind of tell us you're the first African American female to hold the office.
Actually, I'm the first female. Period. Yes.
Okay, the first female period. And then for Black History Month, you got to throw in the fact you got to celebrate the fact that you're also a woman of color, which is amazing.
I love that. Mm-hmm.
But tell us what you do and what that means to be city council president.
Wow. It means that I have, the leadership voice for a members of council that are tremendously excited about the great work they want to do in moving Wilmington forward, and to be that voice and kind of directive. And right now I feel a little bit like Mother Hen, and then I'm trying to, because they're new, and I just want to feed them as much information as I can.
Okay.
And it feels really good. It feels good.
When you say there, you're talking about the council.
I'm talking about the council.
Yes.
The council.
Yes. So that they understand. So basically, you're in charge of a group of people that have all been elected by their constituents or the people in their neighborhood and their local communities to make decisions based on what the people want, and to make it's about safety. It's about, it could be anything, but making the city work well.
Well, we are the legislative branch of government.
Yeah.
Okay, and so it is our responsibility. Our major roles is to present legislation for the city to function and thrive.
Exactly.
We also have a fiduciary responsibility because we also approve the budget.
Yes.
So those are our two major responsibilities.
Okay. So did you ever think when you were, let's say there's little kids watching, there's 10-year-olds, there's 15-year-olds. Did you think when you were 15 in high school, did you ever think that you would be doing what you're doing now?
No. I always have evolved to so many different things. It seems like my life is always a constant circle. I've done a lot of things in my life. I've owned my own restaurant. I owned a bookstore and art gallery.
I remember that.
Absolutely. I published a community newspaper. I've produced a cultural festival that grew to be the 6th largest event in the state. And I like to sing. I performed in the Gridiron performances for about maybe the past 6-7 years.
Okay.
And then now I am a 12-year veteran, 4th District Council member, and now I'm president of City Council. I don't know where the universe is taking me, but I'm just being obedient.
Okay, that's amazing. That's really amazing. So what did you want to be when you grew up? Like when you were...
I was really into music. I really wanted to, in the elementary school, I learned to play the piano and read music and play the silver flute. And when I was in my junior high school years, I played in the band, and we shared a music teacher, Bancroft and Howard High School. And so I marched in the Howard High School band as a junior high school student.
Oh, that's awesome.
So I really loved my music, but when I got to high school, things just got crazy with how high school does, and I got away from my music. But that's what I really enjoyed, the music. And I do love to sing.
Okay, so you can play 2 instruments, and you sing.
And read music.
And you can read music. That's pretty awesome.
And as an elected official, I also know drama.
Yes, that's very true. That's very true, unfortunately, right?
Yeah.
So when we talk about Black History Month, you have made Black history and you're a living version of you're going to be in our history books. How does that make you feel? And
I'm still feeling it.
yes,
I'm still feeling it. Really, it's such a fast pace since the time I won and getting into office and all the things that came with it.
yes,
I only feel it, the excitement of it, in bits and pieces, because it's growing pains.
yes,
And with it, and then there's times that I did I do that kind of a feeling,
and you're like, okay, I'm still learning.
Yeah, I'm still learning, but there are it's a great honor. It's humble to know that the people trusted in my leadership to lead 12 other individuals that they also elected, to run the legislative branch of government. So that's a very honorable, position, and I'm very, very humbled with it. And that's the part that feels good, is when I sit into the humbleness of it. I really feel the ease of it. That wow, this is really a blessing.
Yeah, that's amazing. So why do you personally think that Black History Month is important and celebrating Black history, or do you even think it's important?
Oh my goodness, absolutely. I think my image of the way I carry myself demonstrates the proudness I am to be a Black woman. I mean, my name resonates my culture. I wear my hair in its natural state, and have always been an advocate for the rights of the importance of knowing our history. I mean, I owned an African American bookstore because I felt it was no place for me to find books for my children, and having an entrepreneur spirit that I get from my father. That's the way the direction that I went and opened up the bookstore, and then we expanded to the art, so that our children could know, and not even just the African American community, but the community, Wilmington, Delaware, knows the greatness of the African diaspora, and I expanded that on to the bookstore. I mean, the African Festival, that was a major, weekend celebration of the great history of the African and the African American here in America. Expanded it to the newspaper, because as News Journal was just the only newspaper in town, was not telling the stories of the great positive things that was happening in the Black community. So I created a newspaper so we would tell our own story.
That's pretty awesome.
So it's essential. One must know from whence they came, in order for them to grow to where they can, the greatness that they could be. And that's the only way our young people can do that. That's what's really, really missing tremendously, is they don't know from whence they came. If they knew that a lot of the things that make America what it is was invented by their ancestors, that would make them feel better about themselves. But we don't tell them. All we show is the negative enslavement part of it, but we need to really tell them about the major contributions that we have made in this America, in America, and across in the world, really. So they would have a sense of pride. That's why I am who I am. That's why I feel what I feel inside of me, and then they can use it in a positive way. But right now all they know is negative images, and that's our fault that we have to demonstrate to our young people. So I hope I am.
You are
a model for every young girl to know that little girl on the east side of Wilmington, who didn't know we were poor, but after look at it now, my parents were low income. I had the most richest life there ever was on the east side of town. And I live in my wonderful neighborhood of Southbridge. Love Southbridge. People say, well, why you live in old Southbridge? Because of its economic situation. But my goal is to work with the place I love and bring it so that it can bring it up to be a place that everyone is proud. But even though we are very, very proud in Southbridge.
I love it. What would you tell the kids? So I know you think it's very important for them to know their history. What would you tell someone who wants to know, but maybe they may not be being taught in school, or maybe their parents can't teach them because they don't know? What is one thing you can tell them to start doing today to learn more about their history?
Well, the first is, as the most important skill that every child should know, is to read. Is to read about it, because as they're reading about the history or a person who has made history, reading makes you go into actually feeling and becoming that character.
Exactly.
And I was an avid reader also. Don't have time to do much reading, pleasure reading right now. And it just built and expanded my imagination. Yeah. And then, try it. Be creative, you know, and see if you can. And if it doesn't work, then try something else. But don't be fearful. You know, don't be fearful to be who you feel you are, or say what you have to say in a civilized and respectful manner, of course. And do the things that, you know, you never know if can I be that talent? Can I sing? Can I do that engineer project?
Yeah.
You know, and just explore.
Okay, I love that. So exploration and reading. And so that's something that when I was growing up, I loved to read, but I know so many young people may not love to read as much. But what I will say is that just from listening to you and from my own experience, that if you read and you read about something that's interesting to you, if you read about people who really made history, that it can change and open your world.
Absolutely.
And that is absolutely amazing. So we talked a little bit about what the kids could do. What do you think parents should do to make sure that Black History Month, and all parents of all colors, of all races, should do to make sure that we're learning about each other's cultures in Black History Month?
Well, I mean, I think this is exposing our children to something different outside of themselves that is one of the best things that you can do for a child. You know, just taking your child to an aquarium makes the child interested in the fish and, you know, in water life. So taking them to, as an African American child, taking them to an African American museum, or would also then see what gives them possibilities of what they can be, and it's just exposure to something different than yourself. It just broadens your mind and makes you then also respect that other person.
Now, tell me, Madam President, what has been your personal greatest accomplishment? What do you feel has been your greatest accomplishment?
My two beautiful daughters.
Oh, really?
Yes.
How old are they?
Oh, my goodness. You're going to make me tell my age. No.
Oh. It's okay.
Listen, no, I'm proud. I have, my oldest daughter's 43.
Okay.
And my baby girl's 40.
Okay.
And they have produced 5 of the most beautiful grandchildren.
Oh, your grandma?
I'm a great-grand and a great-grand.
And a great-grandma?
Absolutely. So they're my
awesome.
hereafter. You know, so we're all that I might not have done and can be, I can try as a mother, nurture and give that exposure and opportunities to them. So it's like a second, third chance of what things that I didn't get a chance to do, that I can try to do it by helping my daughters and my grandchildren. And I have many godchildren as well. I have two, as the people, some of them adopted me and some that just became my life. But my children are my greatest accomplishments.
And that is pretty awesome. So you want to say hi to like your grandchildren, or you have great grandchildren?
I have a great grand. She calls me Gigi. Well, she doesn't call me Gigi, but that's what she's going to call me. Yeah, she's only
How old is she?
She's about I think 15 months.
Okay,
a little over
so
a year.
She's still
a baby.
She's still a baby.
She's my bump is what I call her.
Oh, I love that. I absolutely love that. Madam President, do you have a quote that you live by, or something that you live your life by that you would like other people to just know, and maybe it'll inspire them?
I got a few. Thoughts become things. The nation can rise no higher than its woman.
I love that one.
And freedom, justice, equality, and peace.
Okay. And you think those are important things to life? Well,
all that equals truth. You know, I try to live my life in the most righteous way. I'm impeccable in my words. Do unto others I have, and do unto me. Live in the present, you know, which is the hardest, but it's the most fulfilling. Yeah. And just understanding, you know, my role as being born a woman, and trying to be the best example as I can be.
That is pretty awesome. That's deep. I love it. Now, we are, I want people to understand and get to know you because, like I said, you are a part of Black history, and you will be written in the history books. And so what's amazing right now is that we are able to talk to you now. We're able to find out who you are as a person. So we're going to play a game. Okay. It's like word association, like what's your favorite things or things that you love. And so just Whatever your first thoughts are.
Okay.
So, your favorite food?
Fish.
Fish? All types of fish? What about your favorite color?
Orange.
Why orange?
It's bright.
It's bright.
It's the sun.
Okay.
And everything gets light from the sun.
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Favorite book?
God, I have many of them. Message to the Black Man from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Okay. Why?
Because it answered a whole lot of questions about who and our history as being Black here in America, and gives us a blueprint on how to be that Black man here in America.
That's pretty awesome. Your favorite thing to do when you're not working?
Cuddle up on the couch with my grandchildren.
Okay. And your favorite restaurant, like favorite thing to, I know you like fish, so what's your favorite restaurant or place?
Absolutely, Hanifa's kitchen.
I love it. You got to give that plug. You have to give that plug. You got to tell people if they don't know where it is.
Oh, it doesn't exist anymore. I own Hanifa's kitchen.
Yes, I know, but you don't.
I know it's no longer.
So do you cook anything else? Do you sell?
Do I cook?
Yeah, do you
no,
cook and
I
sell?
don't.
No?
But honestly, people still ask me.
I know, that's what I'm
for
saying.
the food, because it was more than just a restaurant. To me, it was a place of healing. It was a place of conversation. It was where we ate to live.
Okay.
That was my motto.
I saw that. I actually read that online.
But I haven't found another place I love more than Hanifa's Kitchen, honestly.
Okay.
But right now,
you just cook it for yourself now?
Right now, I don't even have time to cook. But when I do, it's for myself and my family.
Okay.
And friends.
That makes sense. Last question. Who is your role model?
Ooh, my mommy, my daddy. I have 5 sisters and a brother. Okay. I grew up on Sherman Street.
Okay.
And on Sherman Street lived the Reddens.
Okay.
And there were so many. Stephanie T. Bolden, Madeline Johnson. I was just surrounded by some of the most fantastic people. Mr. Morris, both of them, they were brothers. One was a teacher, and the other was the Morris that taught me my skill in how to do the drum beat. I numerous ones. I study those who are successful, and so I learned from other people's successes. And the formula to success is not the person doing it, but it's following their formula.
Okay.
And so I can go on and on. Margaret Rose Henry.
There's just so many.
It's just so many people that have influenced my life. We just honored Bishop Aretha Morton.
Yes.
And I grew up with her on the East Side, and now even as an adult, she's been one of my mentors that I go talk to. There's a whole Lisa Blunt Rochester. I mean, she's just done such. We're very good friends, and she also has found her destiny. And I believe she never felt she would be where she is, history,
yes.
And we're both there, and it's fun, and I love the fact that we're doing it together because we have so many other common things in common. There's just people are role models to me. I find the best in everybody and try to emanate that because I want to be the best that I can be.
That is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for letting us in on a little bit about who you are because, like I said, you are going to be a part of the history book. So learning about who you are as a person is something that we have a gift. We have the gift to know and to get to know you a little bit better. So I hope everybody in the audience learns a little bit of something about Madam City Council President Hanifa Shabazz. Thank you for joining us at One-on-One with Tierra Fair. This is the Black History Month edition series. Remember that Black History Month is not just February, it is 365, so learn something about your history if you are African American and learn something about someone else's culture and history if you're not African American, because the more that we learn about each other, the more that we'll be more tolerant, more loving, more understanding with one another. Thank you guys again so much for joining me. I'm your host, Tierra Fair, and I'll see you soon.